Hello, my music loving friends. We're just going to be doing some labeling in your book today. So you only need writing utensils and your theory book. Inside your book, we added a miniature booklet for symbols previously, and we're going to add to that first. Now, there is still some space here, but we'll come back to that another time. Right now, we're going to put 1, 2, 3 things in this bottom section. Now, I'm going to be using some terms here that are probably a little bit big, and the ideas are something that you're going to be working on understanding for a long time. So right now, you're just going to draw and memorize these terms, okay? The first one that's going to go here looks like a hashtag or a tic-tac-toe board. So I'm in that bottom space. Here's my middle line right here, and I'm going to draw something right here that goes line, 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 line. Looks like this. Make yours look just like that. This is called a sharp, and we're going to label that. Sharp is spelled S-H-A-R-P, sharp. For those of you who are curious, that sign means that you play a higher sounding version of a note. But if that doesn't make sense to you yet, that's okay. We're going to get into that in your lessons, or your teacher will get into it, but you'll know what the word or what the symbol is when you get to it. Now we're going to add one in the middle. Now this one, to draw it very neatly, you're going to draw first an L and then a 7 that are stuck together. Watch how I do it before you copy. I draw my L, and then starting in the middle of my L here, I draw a 7. And look, just like this. Make yours look just like that. An L and a 7. This symbol means natural. Let's spell that. Natural is spelled N-A-T-U-R-A-L. Natural. And again, we're just memorizing what the symbol is and what it stands for, not getting deeply into how you apply it to playing your instrument just yet. There's one more symbol to add to this section. This is a symbol that stands for the word flat, and it looks like a lowercase b, but it's a little bit pointier. Watch how I do it. I start my B, but instead of making a really round B, I'm going to make it a little bit pointy up like that. Try it. Make your line and make a swoop up like this. And if it just looks like a lowercase b, that's still okay. That's fine. And again, that's called a flat, and we spell flat F-L-A-T. So those are the symbols we need to know for today. So now we're moving over to the strings diagram side of your theory book. And for the purposes of this video, the blue is going to be for both violin and viola. I know that the strings don't look quite right, but there's a difference in the fingerings between the viola and the cello. That means we can't do both of those here. So here, I'm going to be putting content that applies to violin and viola. The purple is going to be just for cello, and the pink is going to be just for bass. So starting over here, if you're a violin or viola player, let's talk through the letter names on your A string. As I said previously, every time you add a finger to the string, you go up one letter in the musical alphabet. Now here we have the open string, and then we left a box open. We're going to leave another box open between the first finger and the second finger. So we have A, empty box, B, empty box again, and then in the next box below that, we're going to put a 2 there. So violin and viola players, you're writing a 2 in that box with this kind of spacing. And just like with the first finger, we go up another letter in the alphabet. But here, we're going to call this a C sharp, not just a C, but a C sharp. So it looks like so. C, and then the sharp sign. Okay, let's go ahead and do the next one, and then I'll cut over to the cello and the bass next. So for third finger, we are not going to skip a box. So we have A, skip a box, B, skip a box, C sharp, exact next box, no skipping, put a 3 there. And what letter name would it be? A, B, C sharp, D. So right under that third finger, put a D. We'll come back to the next string in just a moment. Cello players, your letter names are going to go the same, but the finger numbers will be different. So you're on your A string, you've skipped a box, you put your first finger down, that's a B, that's already on your diagram. If you want to play the next note, we're going to skip a box, and then in the very next one, you would play that next note with your third finger, not your second finger, but your third finger. So A, skip, B, skip, right here, put a 3. And just like it was in the violin and viola diagram, that is going to be called a C sharp. So where that third finger is in the same box, put a C sharp for yourself. And then we are going to not skip a box. So it's laid out just like the violin and viola diagram, but with different fingerings. So it's A, 1, 3. The next box gets a 4. And we just continue up our alphabet from there. A, B, C sharp, and D. Now I do promise that in my classes we come back to talking about why this is a C sharp and not just a C natural, but we're not going to do that in this video. It's a little bit outside the scope of what I want to do today. Let's talk to the bass players for a moment. Bass players, you run out of fingers a whole lot faster because the instrument is so big. So on your A string, we've skipped a box, then you have first finger, which is a B. We're going to skip another box, and then in the one below that, we're going to put a 4 and a C sharp. So the letter names are the same as the other instruments in terms of their organization, but you're already out of fingers after you've gotten there. So A, skip, B, skip, 4 in this box. You can see it's right in line with where the other C sharps are for everybody else. So let's label it A, B, C sharp. Let's go back to violin and viola for a moment. The organization of the notes on the D string is going to be the same as it was on the A string. So you'll use boxes that are right next to the ones you've already written in today. You'll also use the same finger numbers. So let's start by just putting the finger numbers in. So on the D string, where do you have first finger? Skip a box. Let's put a second finger. And then don't skip a box. Just put a 3 in the very next box. Now let's think through the alphabet here. So D, E, F, G, right? So here we go. The first finger is E, so the second finger must be F, but it's F sharp. Just like the second finger on the A string gets a sharp, so does second finger on the D string. I do promise to come back to it, but we're not talking more in depth about that today. All right, so D, first finger is E, second finger is F sharp, so that must mean third finger is G. We just continue up the alphabet. So violin and viola players, your D and A strings should look like that. Viola players, you have to be thoughtful about making sure you got the A string notes on your A string and the D string notes on your D string. There's always whiteout if you made a mistake there. Let's talk to the cello players. So cello players, the finger numbers are going to be the same as they were for the E string. So we're going to have, we've already skipped a box, we have first finger, then we're going to skip another box, then we're going to have third finger in the next one, and then without skipping, we're going to put a 4. So let's put the finger numbers in first. So on the D string, put a 3 and a 4. And then the letter names go just like they did for the violin and viola players because, of course, we're just going through the alphabet in sequence. So D, first finger's E, third finger is F sharp. And then what does that make fourth finger? A G, of course. So you can see why I didn't want to put viola and cello on the same diagram, because when the viola plays F sharp and C sharp, they're doing that with their second finger. But with the cello, you're using third finger because the instrument's bigger. It would be very hard to reach that with your second finger. Let's go over to the bass diagram here. Basses, on your D string, you already have first finger. We're going to skip a box. Let's put a 4 right across from the other one. And then if you've been paying attention to what I said to everybody else, then you've probably already sussed out that that fourth finger is going to be called an F sharp. You can see everybody else has an F sharp and you will too. So let's write that in. Now, just to tie a couple of things together here, in the musical alphabet, you already know there's no H through Z. It's just A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, let's say that I was playing and I started on my D string and I went D, E, F sharp, G, and then I wanted to keep going up higher in the tune. What would I do? I'd go to the A string, A, B, C sharp, D, and we will revisit that idea in the future. But for today, you're all done with your theory, so make sure you pack it up in a way where you'll have it in the next lesson. See you then.